Very special guest on the show tonight. It's Dean from Carter and the Rattlesnakes. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I am excited to talk to you because this album, it's so massive, full of energy, full of guest stars. This is Carter and the Rattlesnakes next level.
I mean, this is what happens when you take us off tour for 2 years. That energy has to go somewhere. And I think this time it's very exciting that we managed to put it into a record with some of our friends.
That's interesting because indeed, this is the live energy we get from you and when you do a show.
Yeah, I think people have often asked us how do you get that onto record? And I don't know if we maybe our first record, we achieved it better than the other two. Because it is really hard because you usually are making these between two tours. But with this, it felt like the tempo just got faster and faster. And the energy that Frank would have singing would just got more and more like what we feel like on stage. And so I guess we're going to have 2 years off every time we want to make a record and feel like we're in prison to do it. So
how is it to make an album in lockdown? Is it the lockdown album?
So I think we very much wrote this album for coming out of lockdown. So it's the time we're coming out now, and fingers crossed that we won't be going backwards in any respect. So we see it as a freedom record, really. But obviously it was made in a lockdown, and that really did sort of change the process. Like a lot more time just me and Frank on our own, because I produced the record. So we were making it just me and him often, which was kind of a necessity because you can't be jumping in with lots of people at these times. So we see it as like a freedom record, but the lockdown aspect just increased the intensity. That's kind of what happened. It got more and more intense the more songs we wrote.
Were you allowed to make music at home? Because the music of Carter and the Rattlesnakes, it's still fucking loud.
Yeah. No, but so we actually lived together for a while, me and Frank, with my wife as well. So it was a kind of interesting, she'd be in the front room trying to watch, I don't know, Bake Off, and then we'd be in this little middle room, which was Frank's bedroom come studio. And luckily it was like an old London building, so it was so soundproof for what it was. Because yeah, we don't make music quietly. It doesn't work for this, even if we try.
How is Frank to live with? Is he a good cook? Does he clean up the stuff he do?
Yeah, do you know what? He's a lot easier to live with than me, I think. I think I'm more of a liability with that. But he's definitely a much better cook. We're both pretty tidy, to be honest. I think we always have been. I think we keep a tidy ship on tour as well. But yeah, and then mostly he's just never there. He's always out somewhere in London doing something.
The new album is out. I would love to play now one of the songs of the album on the radio. After that, talk more about the album. But which song would you like to play on the radio?
Do you know what? My current favorite, for whatever reason, is Rat Race. So if you want to play that, that would make me very happy.
Rat Race. It's your favorite song, but the album is full of massive bangers with a lot of guest artists. How did that work? Did you write songs for them, or did they come later to the process?
So it was kind of like halfway through when we realized we were actually going to have a lot of time, because we've always wanted to collaborate. Sorry about all the noises. I'm just above rehearsal. If you can
hear good music, so it's all good.
Yes, Tank shredding on the bass. Basically halfway through we realized that we're going to be in this for a while, and we were like, this is an opportunity. All musicians are at home. They're all stuck at home. Let's call them up and say, do you want to come and be on the record? So I think we really took advantage of everyone being stuck in London at that time. But even now, I can't really believe the list that we got. Like Joe and Bobby were two of our dreams to get on the record. And they said yes. And then Cassie and Lynx kind of represent some of the new music we're listening to. So yeah, it's like it also gives you a chance to feel slightly separate and listen to your own music as a fan, because when they're singing, it's their thing, it's their record for that moment. So yeah, really pleased with how that came about.
But I love it how you give that new artist a chance as well, because you've been around for like 10 years now with the band, and now you give this artist the chance to shine on this album.
Yeah, I think it was obviously with Bobby Gillespie, he represents Primal Scream, Legend, and we're doing that as much as for us as we're doing it for the record. It made it a better record, but also it was just an incredible experience in the studio. With Lynx and Cassia, it's kind of we still have a lot of energy in us. We don't feel that we're Bobby yet. We still want to be working with people that are young and hungry. And they just brought a totally different, like Lynx did all of his stuff remotely because of COVID. So we didn't even meet them until after the songs were mastered. And it's like, that's so weird for us. But we were on the phone and we were back and forth about it. Bobby came to the studio because that happened to fall in a window where that was allowed. And Joe came to the studio. So it was a real mix, but I think that's a good representation of the record, is we just felt excited to send it out and get some people involved. And yeah, I think we'll be doing a lot more of that as we go through for the next records. And
now you need to take them all on tour with you.
We actually are we couldn't get Bobby on tour, unfortunately, but we are taking Cassia and Lynx out with us. Yeah, so that's going to be we're doing that in the UK. Hopefully we're going to bring it to Europe. We've got a European tour next year. And then we're trying to find somewhere in the world to tour with idols. We don't know where yet, because obviously they're busy. They've got loads of stuff going on, but we want to make that Rattlesnakes Idols tour happen at some point.
You just mentioned you produced this album and we talked about the live energy. How do you capture that as a producer in this album?
Do you know what? I think like it was a real hard thing to do, because when you're in a studio, you aren't feeling the same as when you're on stage. Like on stage, me and Frank, that's the thing we find the most natural. We don't have to worry about adrenaline, or like, you just are like in full flow. When you put artists like us in the studio, actually we're quite uncomfortable because we've lost all the energy, and like you have to try and summon it just from yourself. So the only way I can really describe it is that we kind of blurred the lines between writing and recording. So when you start writing a song, you do get this same buzz that's similar to the show, and Frank will be like, I want to sing now, I want to sing now. And we never used to be able to capture that because it'd be just me and him, and most of the songs used to be demoed on an iPhone like voice note.
Oh wow.
Now, so you couldn't use that on the record, whereas now I've got enough gear that some of the vocals you hear, for example, on Rat Race actually is a good one. That's just the first take. So that's just Frank, the first time he does it. And that moment is the most like a performance that you can get, because if you've got to do it again, you're immediately thinking about it again and kind of adjusting and trying to overthink it. So basically, I think we're quite instinctive musicians. We're very much not people that pick apart the chords and the details. So we had to try and allow us to record those instinctive moments as best we could.
You hear that on this album. It feels real.
Yeah, I think that was the goal. We wanted it to feel modern because we're listening to a load of modern music, and that was exciting to us. But we really wanted it to feel like a punk rock record made in 2021. That was the closest thing to an agenda. Like punk rock's in us wherever we go, but this one feels like we've kind of, for us at least, feels like we've captured some of that energy that we do live in a way that is also interesting on record.
I would love to play now Go Get a Tattoo. Tattoo is what he says on the radio with Lynx. Great song. But did Frank tattoo you already?
He's tattooed me a load of times. So like most of he's tattooed me on a plane with a needle of a little plane. He's in the middle of tattooing a giant snake on my back. So we're like, that's actually how we met. So I got tattooed by about 10 years ago now. And then we started working together. But I'm getting less and less tattoos as I get older. That's for young people now, I think.
Next year, you and the band will be back in the Netherlands to play Tivoli Vredenburg. That's a fucking great venue. I can't wait for that show. But we got this album now, so the energy is already in the Netherlands.
It's gonna be, and do you know what? That show has it's nearly sold out. It's like fly. And so we're talking about that show specifically loads, because you obviously put a tour on sale and you see some of these shows sell really quickly, and you're like, okay, people are ready there. In the Netherlands, they're ready. They're waiting for us, and I'm like, I cannot wait.
Thanks for your time, man. It was lovely to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much.
Hope to see you next year. Cheers.
Yeah, see you, mate.
Bye-bye.